Sony's Xperia XA2 was just one of a long, laundry list of smartphones to launch at this year's CES. No, the successor to last year's Xperia XZ premium flagship didn't appear, although with each of these devices settling in at the lower end of the smartphone price scale, there's bound to be something at the premium end coming from Sony in Barcelona later this year. It appeared alongside the plus-size Xperia XA2 Ultra 6-in monster of a smartphone. My colleague John Gray has already reviewed for our friend the budget. Xperia L1 is the very definition of the mid-range smartphone. What you need to know. The Xperia XA2 has all the hallmarks of becoming the firm's most attractive all-rounder since the Xperia XZ1 Compact. It isn't quite as pocketable as the original pint-sized powerhouse. The screen is a 5.2-inch Full HD, 1920 by 1080 f/, but that's still relatively compact in 2018, where 5.7-inch and bigger phones are becoming the norm. Elsewhere, it has a 23-megapixel rear camera and a single 8-megapixel selfie snapper on the front. It's powered by Qualcomm's latest mid-range processor, the octa-core Snapdragon 630, and comes with 3GB of RAM, 32GB of internal storage expandable via microSD. Plus, it runs Android 8.0 Oreo straight out of the box. Everything a modern mid-range smartphone needs. In other words, price on competition. The key appeal of the Sony Xperia XA2, however, is its price. It launches for a mere £300 when it hits shelves in February 2018. At that price, Sony's latest faces firm competition from the now £300 under 9, the Matable Moto Z2 Play, £365, and HTC's similarly equipped U11 offshoot, the HTC U11 Live, £345, as well as the ridiculously good value Honor 7X, which has an 6 and 18:9 display and costs just £270. Design. Take it out of the box and you'll spot that the XA2 cuts a familiar figure. Aside from the smaller footprint, narrower top and bottom bezels and slightly more rounded edges, this handset looks identical to last year's XZ1, which is no bad thing. However, like the rest of Sony's handsets, this design decision comes at a cost. While the XA2 adopts the same glinting chamfered edges at the top and bottom of the phone, and softly rounded edges, the corners where the two meet, once again, hazardously sharp-edged, and primed to tear straight through your jeans pockets. If that doesn't bother you, or if you carry your smartphone elsewhere about your person, there's not much to complain about in terms of the layout of ports and buttons. There's a solitary USB Type-C port with Quick Charge 3.0 support on the bottom of the handset, complete with the volume rocker, circular power button and dedicated camera shutter button on the right-hand edge. The microSD and nano SIM slots are on the left, beneath the removable flap. At the top is a 3.5mm headphone jack, and a circular fingerprint reader is placed just below the camera on the rear of the phone. Display. Alas, the screen isn't one of these new 18:9 aspect ratio wonders, and, like the XZ1 Compact, its small 5.2-inch Full HD, 1920 by 1080 display feels a touch old hat. Still, at the risk of repeating what I said in that review, that's certainly not a bad thing. It helps that the XA2's display is superb. Images look terrifically vivid, especially with the phone's slightly saturated super vivid display mode engaged, and the display is reasonably color accurate, too. With this mode engaged, it covers 96.5% of the sRGB color space. The contrast ratio reaches a respectable 1167:1, and brightness peaks at a sunlight-friendly 507 CD/M2. This is one impressive display, and, on a £300 smartphone, it's a real treat. Performance and battery life. As for the innards, the Xperia XA2 is equipped with Qualcomm's latest mid-range processor, the 1.95 GHz octa-core Snapdragon 635, and it comes complete with 3GB of RAM and 32GB of storage, expandable up to 256GB via microSD. That chip, if you recall, was last seen powering the rather sluggish HTC U11 Live. It's no surprise to discover, then, that this is far from the quickest smartphone we've seen. Geekbench 4's suite of single and multi-core CPU tests returned scores of 854 and 4157 respectively. In everyday use you won't feel the phone slow down too much, but launch Google Maps or juggle multiple applications at once, and the XA2 begins to stall. Likewise, gaming performance could be better. While simple games such as Candy Crush or Wordscapes ran without any hiccups, as soon as the XA2 tried to tackle more graphically demanding games such as Asphalt or Modern Combat 5, drastic frame drops became a frequent occurrence. Battery life, meanwhile, is decent, with the Xperia XA2 lasting 14 hours and 27 minutes in our continuous video playback test, with the screen set to our standard 170 CD/M2 brightness and flight mode engaged. Camera. With lower-priced smartphones upping the ante in the camera department recently, the Xperia XA2 faces stiff competition, but the specifications look decent enough with an f/2.0 23-megapixel snapper on the rear, f/3 sensor, phase detect autofocus and a single-color LED flash. The results are very impressive. The XA2 does a fantastic job at capturing detail-rich images outdoors in good light. Exposures are well judged and colors particularly well captured, with the camera simultaneously picking up wispy cloud layers and neighboring brickwork with effortless ease. The sunset in the background of my test shots was captured beautifully. However, as soon as the light dims the camera begins to fall short. My low-light tests were rife with compression artifacts and blotchy chroma noise, which is a big disappointment, especially considering how well the camera performs in good light. The XA2 isn't capable of 4K video capture. Instead, we're limited to just 1080p video, and if you want to take advantage of Sony's excellent Steadicam electronic image stabilization and HDR recording, you're only limited to 30ps. Verdict. Low-light photography issues aside, though, the Xperia XA2 is a seriously impressive smartphone, made even better by its highly reasonable asking price. Its display is fantastic, battery life is good, and the handset itself looks like something you've paid twice as much for. The problem for the XA2 is that the £270 Honor 7X offers a bigger 18:9 screen and a dual rear camera for less and in a slimmer, sleeker chassis, albeit with considerably worse battery life. Still, I feel confident in saying that this is one of the best phones Sony has produced for ages. For the price, it looks great, lasts a long time and takes, mostly, great pictures. I look forward to seeing what Sony unveils next.